Welcome everyone to the Executive Compass. This is where we get insights from executive firm founders. We'll dive into their story, how they got started, their challenges and opportunities, and how they're shaping their business for the future. For those of you watching this podcast, I'm Amisha Shrimankar, founder of Recruitment Partners, and today's guest is Jamie Reilly, founder of PharmaSearch Partners, Inc. And hey, Jamie, thank you so much for joining. How are you today?
I'm good, Amisha. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Where are you calling in from?
South Carolina.
Ooh, what's the temperature like?
It was below 30 last night. We got an ice storm coming. That's unusual for us.
Yes, I know. We have a storm coming up here on the East Coast where I am too. So we're just getting prepared for that one. It's a big one.
Yeah. You guys are going to get whacked. We're going to get hit, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as they're saying.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, stay safe, right? Like that's the best we can do and stay prepared. Jamie, for our audience who's watching today, would you mind doing a brief introduction?
Sure. Like you stated, I'm the founder of the company PharmaSearch Partners. I've been doing this 24 years. Prior to that, I was active duty Marine for 21 years. I got into this after retiring from the Marine Corps. I learned a lot from the guy that I worked with, opened my own company in 2005. Love what I do, working with pharma, biotech, medical device companies, consumer good companies. Learn something every day dealing with the amazing people that I have to deal with in all the specialty areas. But I love it, and it's a lot of fun. I work all over the country.
What inspired you to focus specifically on the pharmaceutical and the life sciences industries?
When I first got into recruiting, I was at an agency. He was in engineering. And I got into that. I placed a candidate that was a scientist, a formulator. And so I went to visit, see what this guy does. And it was amazing how all of this comes together. You know, chemistry, microbiology, formulations, manufacturing, how it all comes together. And I got hooked. So I focused more on the science along with engineering. And it even to this day, to talk to a pharmacologist that was part of a drug launch about a drug and learn actually mechanism and action, all that. You learn more about the medicine, but it also helps you to learn more about yourself.
Can you expand on that? That's a very interesting insight.
Well, and here's an example. A family member of mine was being put on some medicine. I happen to know the executive director of clinical research that worked on that compound, because I had helped him get into the industry 15 years earlier. And so I called him up. Hey, what can you tell me? He said, yeah, when you go to the drugstore, you get all that stuff to read, right? And he said, you got to read that, but also remember this. And he tells me some things that drug does that were kind of indicated on those forms, but not in detail. So what I did is took all that information to the family member, and they were better in 90 days. So I'm able to discuss how drugs work, be able to, when the family member says, I've got this issue here. What do you know? Well, I read publications all the time. It's enjoyable. And I'll go to the publications and I'm able to steer them in the direction of knowledge, because the more you know about what you're putting in your body, the better you are at taking care of your body.
Wow. You literally breathe this industry, not just from a professional side, but you are storing up your own knowledge base.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Amazing. How would you describe your firm's sweet spot, and what sets your approach apart from other recruiters in this space, you'd say?
My sweet spot is dealing with things that are involved in discovery and development, whether it's a medical device, a biologic, it doesn't matter. That is going to give something positive to society to handle a disease state or a medical condition. Truth be told, I really enjoy pharmacology, pharmacometrics, toxicology, some deep sciences. And the way we do it is, first you have to know what you're talking about. So reading the publications, having conversations. If you were, say, a pharmacologist with a neuroscience background, and I did not understand something, be honest and say, hey, Amisha, I don't understand this. Explain it to me. Now I'm learning, and I get to see what kind of person you are so that I can better represent you.
Yeah. No, that's so you do in-depth research.
Well, very much.
Amazing. And I think that
publications, have detailed conversations. Well, yeah.
What does that recruiting cycle look like for you then when, say, a client approaches you and say, we have a opening, and how long does that take for you to fill on average?
Depending on the complexity of the position, after I speak with the hiring manager, because I want to know what they think. A job description says one thing, but what's in the mind of the person doing the hiring? It may have these five wants, he may have seven, or she may have seven, or top three. So once I find that out, having done this as long as I have, there are people that I can tend to, okay, I know a person. And then I start digging. And I go find people that fit not obviously the skills perspective, but the cultural perspective, the personality, leadership. We have conversations. If I'm recruiting you, we may talk 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
before I present you to the hiring manager because I want to know you.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. And that brings me up to my follow-up question. What major shifts have you seen in the roles or capabilities companies are prioritizing now?
There was, and that's a great question. There was a start of a huge shift over a year ago in AI. I was getting positions on AI over a year ago, and there were positions that were not traditionally linked to AI, but hiring managers were wanting to get creative and say, add that piece to the job. HEOR, health outcomes, tox, anything using large data sets. Back then they were thinking, let's add this part to it and find that person. Well, that animal didn't exist. Go fast forward, there are some out there. And I think jumping on the AI thing about a year and a half ago. And then about a year ago with the change of the government, the FDA, the NIH, funding was very difficult for startups and mid-sized firms that don't have a launch. And there were so many layoffs and acquisitions last year with all the changes. It hurt the industry a little bit, but it's coming back.
Great to hear. Great to hear that.
Yeah.
Amazing. From AI in, say, drug discovery to the push toward personalized medicine, which of these changes are having the biggest long-term impact on hiring and leadership needs?
Both. In my opinion, and from conversations that I've had with people in the industry, there is a tendency to lean on AI to tell people what to do, who to talk to. That's furthest from the truth. Your resume may be outlined a certain way that if that AI search model isn't programmed right what to look for, it may miss you, but you may be the perfect candidate. Although that animal doesn't exist, you may be the best candidate, but because how you phrase something, that AI may not have it because it hasn't been trained. And there are companies that are relying on AI to tell them who to interview 100%, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more there. Let's talk a little bit more about how clients hire and what's working. One of the things that is not working is having AI to do the entire interviewing process and screening and all of that. There needs to be some human elements involved for sure. So when a client comes to you, what are they typically struggling with in their talent strategy? Now, I mean, the common things that they're seeing that, it's just not lining up. And where do you see them succeeding?
I'll go with succeeding first.
Okay.
They learned a lesson post-COVID that there are certain positions in the industry, and I don't care what you make, there are certain positions in any industry that don't need to be in a corporate office, that can be done remotely, home-based, in the pharma space, drug safety, clinical data, clinical programming, things of that nature can be done remotely. Yeah, come in every couple months for a big staff meeting or a team meeting, but you don't need that person in a cube, right? Use of technology like this, like Zoom and Google Meet and things like that, to where teams can come together and talk about things no matter where that team's located. And there are a lot of hiring managers that may be a corporate, but they're director or associate directors in California and they're in Jersey, and it allows communication to flow very, very easy. So automation is a good thing. The bad thing is, one, with the advent of automation, AI, and all that stuff, the populace hasn't caught up with the need. We're not quite there yet. And the academic centers are not putting out people that were trained on this because it became a thing a couple of years ago, and very few people were being educated in that. So we've got a gap. That being said, that gap can be filled with people that have a basic knowledge as long as hiring managers are willing to train up. But again, going back and relying north of 75% on automation, AI, and technology to build a team to develop whatever is a mistake.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. How do you help clients decide which approach, whether it's contingent, retained, or project-based, fits their needs best?
It's whatever their need is. It's not my job to tell them, if they're adamant about how they want the process to work, it's my job to support my client.
Yeah, well said. And from your perspective, what does a truly successful engagement look like for both sides, say the client and for you?
Open conversation about the need, about maybe the team culture, the company culture, things facing the company, so that I can represent them properly to the candidate. And then open conversation with the candidate. When I present that candidate to the hiring manager, they don't sit on it. If I send someone to you today, there needs to be action within 24 to 48 hours. And if there's a question, this is one of the biggest faults. If there is a question about a skill, okay, I use analytical chemistry. A chemist may not have on the resume that they use HPLC, right? But they're a chemist.
Yeah.
There's probably about a 95% chance they use HPLC. But if it's not on the resume, ask the question. If I send someone to you and you don't read between the lines, or I didn't present them properly, ask me, hey, does this person have this? Have a conversation. Keep the humans in the process.
Yes, true. Speaking of AI, well, it's impacting everything, right? From R&D, hiring intelligence. Where do you think, how is technology changing your search for PharmaSearch Partners? What is the level of use of AI you have in your company?
It is connected to my internal database for quick searches. I don't like it, but I got to learn it. I'm still the old Boolean phrase kind of guy, right? But it's still, I will use it, or I might use it for data, which is what it's made for.
Yeah.
But I don't allow it to tell me who to talk to, because I can read between the lines on a CV or a resume. If I see, ABC, well, if he's got ABC, must be D in there. Let's
Yeah.
have a conversation.
I love it. And when you look at, say, 6 to 12 months out of this year, what kind of roles or skills do you believe will be most in demand within pharma and biotech?
It's already started. There's a big push with the AI thing, obviously. I think you're going to find in pharma and biotech a heavy push in personalized medicine, genomics. I think a huge push therapeutically in oncology, and cardiology's quickly growing again, which is a good thing. I think those two therapeutic areas are going to be in the top three, the third being neuroscience. But I think you're going to be looking for a lot of people in the development space that can cross over. And I'll use this example, if they're a pharmacologist, that they have knowledge or experience with pharmacometrics, or if they're a formulator, they have knowledge, experience maybe with analytical or micro. That cross-pollination, because automation allows one person to do more.
Yeah, true. And what shift in your client's talent strategy would you encourage them to start making now as they prepare to succeed in 2026?
They need to be ahead of the hiring stream. I believe with all of the actions that happened the last year, 18 months, and with all of the changes going on in the government, and you look at all of these plants that are going to be built, all these big pharma plants are going to be built, and then there's plants expansions, and there's drug development expansions, and then there's acquisitions that are going on. I think you're going to see an increase of somewhere around 275 to 350,000 new jobs to the pharma and biotech space. I think you're going to see a look at more being maybe hybrid or remote than in-house. But for the companies looking to hit the numbers this year, they need to start now, because about mid-year, I firmly believe it's going to be a candidate-driven market and no longer an employer-driven market.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very encouraging to hear, considering the general doom and gloom in the job market in general. So I like that. I like that insight. that it's going to be more
Yeah,
candidate.
you look, and I don't remember the exact number. It's either 13 or 18 brand new plants that are being built, costing in the billions. And each plant could cover easily 650 jobs, 150 jobs times 10, 13. Add that already to the numbers that are out there. And you got to realize that there are 7.2 million open jobs in the United States. There's 7.14 unemployed people. Somewhere around there. That's the last data that I looked at about a month ago. But somewhere around there. So you add those jobs to those numbers, where are the people coming from? And you'll see a lot of these companies running massive internships where they're creating their own employees.
The general economy for sure. And it's great news for candidates, great news for job seekers in the healthcare and the life sciences market for sure. Mm-hmm. On that note, what excites you the most about the next stage for PharmaSearch Partners this year?
I would love to get in with some of these smaller to mid-sized companies, or maybe phase 2. I want to be that guy that brings in the person to take it to launch.
I love it. I love it. So it appears to me that your goals for 2026, your biggest growth lever is finding more of these companies to partner with. And obviously, while deepening your relationships with your existing clients, for sure.
Yes.
Excellent. Jamie, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'd love to hear from you. What's your advice for recruitment companies out there, exec recruitment companies who could learn, a thing or two from you, from your success and the amount of time you've had in this industry?
Know your product. Number one. Be able to speak intelligently about your product, understand the people you're dealing with, and communicate. And I say communicate on both sides, the client and the recruiting firm. Talk to your people, and share with them. If it's going good, let them know. If it's going bad, let them know. Communicate. Communication can solve all problems.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you?
They can find me at PharmaSearch Partners. That's PHARMA Search Partners, plural, all one word.com. Jamie at PharmaSearch Partners. I'm on LinkedIn. I write articles on LinkedIn. I write articles for Pharma Now magazine, and I'm pretty easy to find.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you and learning all the things. So thanks for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.